Hello everybody, welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen with Designs of Value Art. And today we're going to talk about a question that I get at every single class that I've ever given. How do I know when my painting is completed? Okay, let's go about answering that. When you get to the point where you feel that your painting is completed, but you're just not sure if it needs something else, I want you to start asking yourself these questions, and you may want to write these down because they're important, and you can just put them somewhere and do a check off. So when you look at your design, you can just check it off. I did that, I did this. And this is a watercolor practice sheet that I'm doing on leaves. It's no way completed. These are all need to be done, and again, it's just a practice sheet. I only got half of this leaf in there, but it is a good example for me to show you what I'm talking about. First question you want to ask yourself: are my edges clean? Now this would be for watercolors, and for oils, if you're doing a plain background, you want to make sure edges are clean. And for example, here I've got an edge here I need to clean up, I have an edge over here I need to clean up, and that type of thing. So you want to go petal by petal, leaf by leaf, stem by stem, and make sure your edges are nice and clean. Now, this is going to be a botanical once it's all done, but again, it's just a practice sheet that I'm doing. I'm going to change this leaf and that type of thing. I have no detail in any of this. I haven't even added in any more darks on that one. So, but these are the questions you want to start asking yourself. Now, with this white background, I definitely want clean edges. If I were doing a dark background color or even a mid-value background color, I would want to get those cleaned up before I started to do the background. Or you could do it the reverse and mask all of these off, do your background, and then come back. I'm going to just leave this white since it's just a practice sheet. But then the next question that you want to ask yourself: when I look at this, are my darks dark enough in this leaf? Are my lights light enough? Now you're looking at value. And if that's my center of interest, which I really haven't measured out here, but it could be, and I don't have enough dark and I don't have enough light, then we're going to have a problem, because some of these other leaves could take over that spot, and then my center of interest is kind of lost in the middle. So you want to make sure you have enough dark and enough light. And you also want to ask yourself, do I have enough values? Do I really have a mid value in this leaf? I somewhat do, but I have some other values besides the light and the dark. But the way it sits right now, it's pretty dark and it's pretty light. There's really not much of a mid value in there. And that's another thing that you want to ask yourself. Do you need to get your eradicator out and make this a little brighter? Get a lighter value in there? All of those questions have to be answered. And then by taking each item and looking at that, that's going to tell you whether that item in that design is 100% complete. And the next thing that you want to take a look at, I'm just looking at my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, I got all the values in there. And then, do I need to build up some of the darks? Do I need to do a dry brush and darken this a little bit? Probably wouldn't hurt. If I want that to be a little bit darker, and that's going to help create another value in there as well, so you're not losing your values. Now, do any of my leaves need an accent? There really isn't too many other colors other than green and yellow in this design, so this one probably would not need an accent. But if I was on top in the background or in the front here there were some yellow flowers, I might want to get yellow in there. Or if there was red flowers, I could get a red accent in there. So that's something that you want to take a look at too, to see if that's necessary. And then, so you've gotten your edges cleaned up, you made sure that your lights and darks are correct, that they're dark enough, light enough, all of that, and you think that you're pretty close to being done with your design. My suggestion at that point, take it to a mirror and look at it. And it's going to give you the backward of this. It's going to backwards it. So your eye is going to go right to something you really didn't notice looking at it this way. I mean, you could turn it upside down too. That would never hurt either. Turn your design upside down and take a look at it, see if anything pops out at you. Take a mirror, take it to a mirror and look at it that way. Another thing that I do too, when I'm all done with a design, or I think I'm almost done with the design, I take it and I prop it up against something. And I walk away from it about 3 feet and I look at it that way. Does something jump out at me that way? Turn it upside down and see if anything jumps out at you that way as well. If not, you're probably headed pretty close to being done. And then so many other things that you want to think about, and ways that you can take a look at these differently. I like turning them upside down and looking at them in a mirror because that really makes something pop that you don't necessarily see looking at it so close up as you're painting. So that's important too. But then, of course, so you've got everything done. You're really happy with the design. Nothing pops out at you in the mirror. Nothing pops out at you when you walk away from the design. So you're happy with it. There's a couple things that you want to do yet. You want to sign your design. And if you're going to mat it, that's a decision you need to make at this point too. Because if I would mat this and I would sign it down here, well, you've just covered up your signature. So you have to decide at this point before you sign it, am I going to mat this design or not? If yes, you have to account for that mat and sign up above that mat so that your signature will be seen. I don't normally date mine, but some people do, and that's perfectly fine. But those are the questions you want to start asking yourself. You want to make sure all the edges are clean. You want to make sure that your lights are light enough. If not, take your eradicator and lighten them up. Are your darks dark enough? If not, add, like in this case, you can add French ultramarine to your dark green and darken it even more. Add a touch of red to it and darken it a little bit more. If you know your color theory, that's going to help you quite a bit. So there's lots of different things that you can do. I could take that real dark value and just go right into these corners here, and this corner and these two corners, and just gives you another value. It just creates that leaf to fold back. So that's real important. Without value, your items are going to be flat. Like right here, there's one value all the way down this stem. And the problem with that is it doesn't come forward. And a stem is like a straw. It's a good example. It curves. It's a circular item. You want to create that by having a highlight, a mid value, and yes, I know it's a small area. I relate to that. However, you want to get those values in there, or it's going to look flat like this one does right now, or like this leaf back here that's not completed, or this leaf too. It's got a couple values in it, so it's not quite as flat. This one is too shaped up like this. I'm going to have to do something with that one. It's a good practice sheet for me to correct that. But those are the things that you want to do. Turn it upside down. Let's do that with this one because it's really easy to do right here on camera. Okay, so I'm looking at this upside down. Some of the same things that pop out at me is that stem is flat. There is no curvature to that stem, and that's not what I want. This doesn't have enough value in it. These, of course, are not done, so they don't have enough value. This one is okay. I would like to see the highlights a little bit lighter. Maybe even a little bit more dark in that one. But this one I really just dislike the veins. I did that with my eradicator, and I don't normally do that. I normally do it with my brush. They're a little bit more delicate that way, and look a little bit more realistic like these. This one I do with my eradicator too. They're very straight. So I got to stop doing that. I don't care for that look. However, that's what this practice sheet is all about. It just tells me that's what I need to work on, is to use my brush to create those veins rather than a flat eradicator, because I can curve my brush better and get a smoother vein. But then take this to a mirror and take a look at it. What does anything else jump out? Do the edges look like they're really, really bad, like right here, and different things like that? So take a look at those things, study your work, and then you can answer, is my design completed? And it's nice to be able to do that on your own without having to ask someone else. Or I can go to my husband and ask my husband, but he's not an artist. He doesn't understand what I'm asking. So you need to be able to answer these questions yourself, and then be sure and sign it. And again, be aware if you're going to be using a mat, and sign it above the edge of the mat so that people can see your signature. Be proud of your work. That's very important. You want to be proud of the things that you've done. So I hope that helps. And we'll be talking about other art things that are of interest. I just did one on a center of interest. I'm going to do one on leaves. I'm going to also do one on water droplets, and one on color and how important color is, and what the elements of color are. So keep watching my YouTube channel. Please like my channel so that YouTube understands that you enjoy watching my channel. Check me out on Patreon. And thank you for watching me today. You have a lovely day.